He's on my chair having a bath. And welcome. It's Saturday morning. This is the Art of Rock. First and foremost, I would like to acknowledge the Tongva people as being the traditional landowners of Hollywood, California, or Los Angeles, California. That's where I am right now. The Art of Rock is on every Saturday morning. We talk about overcoming writer's block. So if you're having problem making music and you're bloody jaded, you're gonna love this because we are too, and we're figuring this stuff out together, and we're challenging each other's opinions. And my opinions are always getting challenged here, and that's what I love about it. Um, Watch it on Angelspit's Twitch. Go follow that shit, or Angelspit's YouTube, because I'm also doing a whole bunch of other stuff now. So bloody, you'll get notices. This is made possible with Angelspit's Patreon. Thank you so much. For as little as $3 a month, you can help me keep this shit going, or it's free. Take your pick. I'm just going to cut straight to the chase. Wednesday night, Vulture Cultures does a deep dive and gives everybody gear acquisition syndrome. Thanks, Alex. Thanks heaps. Go watch it Wednesday night. Great bunch of people. And we're also wearing the Scum shirt. We're going to talk about something Alex brought up later as well. Non-stop music from the bleeding edge. That's where we're going to go after that. That's MTV TV. And I'm telling you, you're going to find your new favorite band. If you've got a video, send it to them because it's free. Susie, welcome. It's free publicity and it's awesome. Just email them. They'll take care of it. If you're concerned about what's going on in the United States right now, join Indivisible and they'll keep you posted with your legal constitutional rights. Peaceful. Razi, thank you for co-hosting.
Good morning. You're welcome. Thank you.
And there's also, hello, is this thing working? You know, I just really want to punch every computer in the world right now. Like,
Don't punch mine, man.
No, I'm coming to your house and I'm punch your
Jesus.
computer. And here's a list of everybody else who'll be joining us in this madness. Boom. So let's break down to the tax of brassness. Ivan, you've been up to no good this week. Tell me about your no good.
I have certainly been up to no good this week. Last week I suggested you could use Suno to help write a song and then just re-instrument it with the real deal instead of sticking with Suno's AI, or more importantly, with the crap that it comes up with. And so I tried it. This is actually, share this over to you guys.
I think Rizzy's got it ready to go. Oh yeah. Can I put this on the screen? Are you okay with me sharing this link to everybody?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this is Ivan's work in progress. And we're all going to be listening to this via Resi in a moment. Okay, thank you. Okay,
that is the prompt. The prompt is super simple. Because it was an experiment. It didn't need to be crazy, but I have a few thoughts. One, based on like AI, tries to figure out the world by parsing what information's available. So if you're going for something, niche off in the corner that there's perhaps not as much data about, it's going to rely on the data it does have, which might not fit what you're actually trying to do. And that is the where things like AI hallucinations take place. And so I specifically mention in the prompt that a coil style, not a not coil style, and it is completely it it went someplace completely different.
Yeah, this is not coil style.
About as not
I would not have guessed that. Hey, do you want me to just roll it for a second while I've got
yeah.
Let's
hold on. Just before we roll it, thank you, Resi, for queuing this up.
Yeah.
Ivan, did you want to add anything to the rant of the prompts?
Yeah, and so actually, yeah, no, since it kind of has to make things up, it has an opportunity to just go completely off the reservation and try something not related to what you're talking about. And then also like I think okay, it seems like the lyrics they need some cleaning up. But we could take these lyrics and say that Simon Le Bon wrote them, and we'd be like, whoa, that's pretty close.
Okay, if you have a copy of the lyrics, can you throw them in there
Oh,
up to the first chorus at least? Because we're only going to hear up to and including the first
yeah, let me
chorus.
grab those.
And with your blessing, can we actually now hear the amazing this track?
Oh yeah.
Okay, Rezi, thank you so much for lining this up.
Yeah, yeah.
Three steps on the rusted stair. Your breath like acid burns through the air. Red dust on your open palm. You trace my number, then choke the alarm. We dance in crooked time as in the velvet sky. Turn and you pull the line. Turn and you close my eyes. All your careful lies penned in a perfect line. Bite down and taste the fire. Melts in the velvet sky.
Okay. That's fascinating. And just before we dive into this, and thank you again for sharing this. That it's really bold that you share this. So how much of this is you? How much of this is the AI? Rezi's drawing a circle on the screen. I
Yeah,
don't know
just
what's
note
going
that
on.
part at the chorus there.
All right. Ivan, how much of that is you? How much of that is AI? Can you build us through the process? What to get to that point of the replacement of all of the, hey, thanks, Sonus. Now I'll take over. Give me the rant. You're muted. I muted you because I'm a bastard. I muted your mic.
Because I am a bastard.
No, I'm a bastard.
The I got I put in my prompt to Sonos, got back a full MP3 of the whole song, everything. Like it has all the parts. It by itself, it doesn't sound too horrible. Then I dumped that into Ableton and tore out the stems. And from the stems, I tore out the MIDI. And then I took that MIDI and replaced the instruments in those stems with real like not even VSTs most of the time. I Take Five is doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and then Ableton's drum rack is doing the rest of the heavy lifting. So I've completely replaced the percussion, and like a whole lot of that drone synth underneath of it is now like Take Five. And then the guitar is still the machine, and the vocals are most certainly the machine at the moment. But I took those vocals and I recompressed them and dumped them through a bunch of like some effects on their own so that they would sound a little less cheese. And then yeah, I need to replace the bass yet, and I'm thinking that the Hydrosynth is going to be a good replacement for the bass because I can get the bass to do more rhythmic things.
Okay, thank you. If I may ask, so once you received, you pulled the MIDI out, did you actually change the notes? Did you change the MIDI?
The bass is going to be 100% changed, just
Okay.
because like it is all like AI cheesed up. Um, the drone part above that though is mostly not changed.
Okay, my next
Just
question
because
is,
it does sound crazy in the right way.
all right, thank you. My next question is the chords that are used in this, how often would you use chord progressions like that?
I would probably use chord progressions like that on my own already. I
Okay.
don't think that is not too far fetched.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting. There's no judgment. I'm just very interested.
Mm.
If it's okay, can I yield the floor to the resonator?
Oh yeah.
I yield the floor.
One thing that's interesting that I wasn't thinking of immediately that maybe we can pick up after we talk specifically about this is the idea of chord progressions and chords when your music doesn't have like blocked chords in it. Like the guitar isn't playing E minor, the full thing, the root, third, fifth, and in the octaves. It's the impression of the chord that you're in because the melody follows it. So it's more like chamber music, knowing what chord it is because the individual instruments weave the chord. Just something to put a pin in, like there's a bass line that strongly implies what the root is of every chord. So we can sort of just know, but there's no like, pad playing the chord. I'd like to talk about how we do stuff with that also, but in this particular instance, okay, I clocked the small, tiny hi-hat and snare and kick, little like CR8000 or whatever the sounds as yours. Like that was clearly not part of the AI, part of the generative musical fog. But the rest of it I didn't discern. Maybe it's because it's such a low bitrate mono mix, what you might have contributed. Everything does sound like it's still from the pool of what came out of the original, despite that you said you separated the stems. And more to the point, and I don't know if I've noticed this before, the chorus where it's supposed to get big and loud is like 3 dB quieter than the verses, which could be an effect of how you recombined it. It could be part of what was originally there. And I'm curious just some of the mechanics of production and mixing and what you did to it to make that happen.
I probably need to like revisit how it's mixed right now so that things like the chorus do step up.
Facts, not criticism necessarily, because it could be an interesting choice also. But
yeah.
Yes, you didn't say this was a Suno generated piece when I first listened to it, and it was for whatever reason. I mean, I guess because it's topical and current, I assumed that's what we were listening to. There may be other tells, but for sure, by the time it gets to the chorus, this sounds like that, like I was saying last week, this sort of fizz of everything having come from the same pool of pixel noise and maybe almost defined into parts, but it still sounds like this haze of stuff. And I'm not sure what effect I'm hearing, that still does that. And I'm not even sure that there's any business critiquing that fact at this point, but it's what came to mind as I'm listening. And the vocal, thing that it made, I know what its touchstones were. It's really obvious where it got like the 3 influences from. Yeah, like mid 90s future pop. What's the band I'm thinking of? Not mid 2000s rather, future pop. Not V&V Nation, not Apoptygma Berserk, but Swedish band.
Yeah, it is from that world.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank.
Hot guys in suits.
Yeah.
They could be Sarsgaards. Oh my God, that's my new band. They could be Sarsgaards. If you want to join my new band, they could be Sarsgaards. Ivan, you're in. Razi, have a shave. You're in. Alex, you're definitely in. Lose the stash. You're in. Brett, don't change. Bring the shotgun. You're in. They could be Sarsgaards.
These are S1Ws. Brett's gonna have some dance moves
I'll
with
put
his
on
gun.
a suit.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Razi, go on.
No, no. I mean, I'm just sort of like trying to find an anchor in what I'm even feeling about this. And I wanted to draw the comparison. Maybe this brings it around. Last night I was on my mix gig, and the main singer guitarist was like, "Hey, this is a little thing that I wrote today, finished, and I want to use it in the show." And it was a really beautiful piece. It was like topical and timely, and had everything to do with the social conscience that we're all having, existentially challenged right now as probably, um, uh, progressives and liberals and stuff, that side of things. And it resonated with me, and I thought it was beautiful. And the comparison between her delivery of a simple voice and guitar presentation of something that she wrote personally last night, and this, which I heard today, they both have provocative and evocative, hits me in a way, gives us something to talk about elements. But the reactions that I had to the two of them were so very different. And I think you can probably infer what I'm thinking just by how I characterize the two experiences. But this is interesting too, in a different way. And it's like, we're talking about mechanically what's going on. Whereas the thing that I heard yesterday, I was just like sort of emotionally thinking about it. But anyway, long way of talking about two very different experiences of like an intimate delivery versus this bombastic computer generated thing that, you had influence on, but I'm still not sure what you did to it, Ivan. So, cool, interesting. Where are we at?
Okay, unfortunately, Carl has been unleashed. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an announcement to make. I'm a bigot. I am a bigot because this has made me realize that I'm a bigot. Let me explain. Ivan, if you came to me and you said, I wrote this song, I would go, fuck, dude, this is great. I would tell you this is a great song because I'd be listening to firstly, you did it in 3/4. Then I would be listening to the choice of chords, which were really like, hey man, these chords work. They're rock and roll, fucking dark rock, fucking chords. These work. Then I'd be listening to what you do in the vocals, the actual melody of it, the way that you were playing homage to the chord, but you weren't actually hitting the chord. You were just hitting like Rizzy said, you're weaving around the chord. I would say, dude, this is a fucking good song, man. Congratulations. And I'd say you work this and it's gonna go far. But if that's preempted by an AI wrote this, then I say, oh, this is shit, I hate it. It's fucking Nickelback. And that really, that's interesting because that makes me think about me. So let's talk about me for a moment. I'm a fucking bigot. And I need to really fucking deal with this, is that, yes, there's a whole bunch of things, and I know Adam Bomb's getting angry at me right now, that for reasons, but I've just kind of gone, wow, I'm a bigot. I'm a fucking bigot. I'm an electronic bigot. Like I said before we came, I was threatening violence to my computer, and then I was threatening to go other people's houses. I said, I'm going to punch my computer. That will be a crime one day. And then I said to Rezi, I'm going to come to your house, fly across the country, I'm going to punch your computer too, because I'm a bigot. Yeah, I'm just going to throw that out there. This is such an interesting thing. If Ivan said, I wrote this, what would your reaction be then? And I got some guy to sing it. I'd be saying you want to work on those lyrics a bit. Well, maybe you don't want to work on those lyrics a bit because, dude, I've heard goth lyrics that are way better, that are way nowhere near as good. Come on. It doesn't talk about ashes falling from the sky like every single ask it to write a Frontline Assembly song and it will nail the lyrics, I promise. But I'd go, yeah, look, come on, look at this chorus. We dance in crooked time. Nails in the velvet sky, something, 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 hook, and pull the wire, turn and close my eyes. Great. All of your careful lies. It does sound a bit like Simon, but pinned in a perfect line. I do hate these lyrics, but I try not to listen to the lyrics because all lyrics make me want to puke. Jesus, if you listen to Angelspit, it's equally weird. Bite down and taste the fire, nails in the velvet sky. So from the perspective of a songwriter who's doing a chorus, that's actually a really good chorus. Like, I know you don't want to hear this, but if some person came to me and said, I wrote this song, I'd look at it and go, it's actually a really good chorus. Like, it's a really good chorus. It's, that's a good chorus. It is. It's a good fucking chorus. Yes, I know it's learnt from all the other fucking songs that have ever been written, and the chat right now is going crazy. So here's the first thing I've learned. Maybe I need to shut the fuck up and listen to what everybody else is doing. Maybe I need to learn from them. And there's no crime in that, just like what the fucking computers are doing. That happened in Terminator. That's exactly what Arnie did in the Terminator, and everyone said, we're doomed. Terminator 2, remember? He's playing with John Connor. Fucking whatever. So, firstly, I'm a bigot. Secondly, thank you, AI, for teaching me that once we are plugged into the matrix and become nothing more than one of these. I do have a battery in this, so I can do my 100 BTUs, which incidentally stands for the British Thermal Unit. I just don't get it. I need to fucking learn. I need to be more open-minded. I'm a fucking bigot. That's my case. Is if somebody else came to me, I'd say it's so industrial Nickelback, but it's a good song. Then I had all this other stuff that I wanted to talk about, but I think it's irrelevant because I don't know. I'm just having this moment about myself. I am a fucking bigot. And if you're a computer, I'm going to tell you to fuck off. I'm going to punch you in the chips. I'm going to punch you in the chips. Razzie, I've made a lot of enemies today.
I had the same feelings about a couple of the couplets and a couple of the weirdly formed metaphor relationships in the lyrics that I had with the human that wrote a song last night. So perfect. Like, it did a good job of muddling the clarity of some of the metaphor, like a first draft lyricist might, like, that hasn't done the rewrite yet. That's cool.
Like a teenager with new braces.
Hell yeah.
I'm just trying to think, what would an AI say there? Like,
I don't know.
Like something.
I was scrolled onto the lyrics and trying to, like, vibe with them a little bit, but yeah.
So I've got
it checks off the list of things that you should put in your goth industrial song. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I actually stood on your toes there, so I want you to finish your rant, then I'm going to keep ranting.
Part of me is like, yeah, whatever. We just, like, it made a thing. Like, I want to hear Ivan's finished version. Great. There's nothing to talk about here. It's a, it generated a thing. That's what they do. Like,
okay, you know what? You're absolutely right. It generated a thing. It did. It generated a fucking thing. And just like all the other things that are being generated, it's noise. And everything is falling back into the noise of everybody is listening to itself. And look, oh my God, here we go. It reminds me of when rave became a thing in the early 90s. Everybody was using the same 808. And it got to the stage where you can listen to a song and you could say, they sampled that 808 from that track, who sampled it from that guy, but they added a bit of compression and distorter. And as it got, as it started moving through about 95, when everything died, it started becoming a mush because it was the same very compressed 808 or 909 snare that everyone was fucking using, everyone was sampling. Even Was It Rhythm Is a Fucking Dancer. The last track is they put every single sound they use going pop, dong, ding, there, sample it. That was the last fucking song on the CD. And it was partly, yeah, we're all going to be free about it, but it was always saying, fuck you, we just salted the earth. Ours. Keyboard magazines and all the other magazines had sample CDs on the same thing. My point being is that if everybody is sampling off each other and compressing it a bit more and adding a bit more fucking distortion or whatever, it's becoming this meh, and that's what rave music does. Thank you, Prodigy and various others who didn't do that, who pushed away from it. who presented something dirty and nasty. And that is the lesson that I am learning once again from this, is that this is just, come on, man. In the late mid 60s, everyone was the fucking Beatles. Then they were all Dylan. And then they all fucking grew their hair long, smoked marijuana and dropped acid. Everyone fucking did it. And behind Sgt. Pepper's and White Rabbit, there were 10,000 bands. That's kind of why Motown fell apart. There were 10,000 because Motown was focused on quality. But because everybody wanted the same, it's not AI now, it's fucking LSD drivel. It happened. Look at disco. It was the same fucking thing. Even Kiss did. I Was Made for Loving You, baby. Kiss weren't fucking metal. They were disco, for fuck's sake. And that's great. They're great tracks, whatever. But my point is, as artists, we are now facing another populist wave. We are. And the lesson of this is to fucking do something different and to keep fucking challenging yourself. Be like Jimi Hendrix. Well, what happens if I do this? Or remember, Jimi Hendrix's strength was singing. It wasn't guitar, it was fucking singing. And I'll fucking argue on that. You've got to push yourself. You've got to keep fucking pull yourself. And sure, going back to the past and getting inspired by it's great. Yeah, totally. But look at what they were inspired by besides Ashes Fall from the Sky. I mean, maybe get inspired by that. Create your own sounds. Experiment with new scales. Listen to something you never fucking listened to. Go buy a record from some 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, whatever band that you fucking hate, but it's a good record, and choose why it's a good fucking record and learn from it. There will be part 2 to this. Razi, help.
I think that you've got something revolutionary happens in the audio space, some great hit, you've got a thing, and then you've got 5 years of people figuring out how they did that and making some variety on top of it, and then pushing the edges of that, expanding the boundaries a little bit, and you've got a cohesion. You've got a genre, you've got the hacienda, you've got a Chicago house, you've got punk rock in 76 or whatever. You've got these how'd they do it? What can we do to exactly emulate it? What are the instruments of the time that formed that sound, the political atmosphere that made the lyrics what they are? And you've got that cohesion and expansion. And then you've got another 5 years of pop releases of that same thing where it's figured out and we know how to package it, and we can trust the major labels to pay for bands to redo that or attempt to capture that lightning in a bottle and magic and hand it back to the masses in a perfected form. And then you've got if it was really good, a lasting genre that persists, and you have the revival of it 10 years later where it goes back to the roots version of it, and we'll have an authentic, that guy's actually a real hippie in 1979. He's doing the real, peace headband tie-dye thing. And then, maybe every 10 years it'll come back if it's a real keeper of a acid rock genre or disco or something like that. And I don't know that we can do that if we hit the generate button. I think that short circuits that process of creating a new genre and making revolutionary things. Not that I'm worried, because Ivan took the tracks and, did some stuff with them. That's the kind of invention, that we need.
Yeah.
But
sorry, go ahead.
No. Yeah. Okay, sure. Jump in there.
No, it's yours, please.
There's got to be a vigilance to doing that. And if anybody on this panel or in the chat or listening to us afterwards is the kind of person that likes making stuff, I'm going to guess that there's a lot of us here. You still want to do that. I mean, it doesn't matter if the thing generated a thing. It did it. Yay. So did I. It took me longer, but I had fun with the bricks and mortar. I had fun inspecting why there's a chord progression implied in those melodies and that bass line. I had fun figuring out what the name of the band was that I'm trying to think of that was one of the 3 sources that it got those lyrics from, and knowing my history and understanding what I want to bring to a new version of this. And, I still spend a month, crafting the thing. there are things that are a pain in the ass that it's nice to have shortcuts for, and I do talk about those every week. And I'm not sure that the generate a mixed audio song is on my chart of ways to circumvent the tedium. I haven't done that. I don't know if it's interesting or exciting to me, but I do appreciate, Ivan, that you did this and that maybe it's your shortcut tool.
Yeah,
and
no,
that's cool.
I thought that this would be an interesting experiment.
Yeah.
You know, and one that needed to be done because, you know, like, it's very easy for us to sit back and be like, oh, you know, AI is just going to ruin everything, which is most certainly has the opportunity to do. I will again always like push back to like the mid 90s when, you know, if you're using fractal design to like paint images on your computer, traditional artists would immediately just look at it like, well, that's not art. You're not doing art. That can't possibly be what that is. You know, because you didn't get your hands dirty while you were doing it.
Ivan, there are 3 novel things in that track, the way that it is right now, at least. And that's all you need. It's just, you know, like, I think they're very much mixed in against a background of a lot of predictable and expected stuff that might overpower them. So the challenge is to remove all of the very, very basic, in that pejorative sense, you know, a base layer of how it constructed it, extract those novel things, and whether it's the contrast of the chorus and soaring melody in the verse, or it's the exact melodic leaps that it chose that you want to just keep, or it's the I don't know. Yeah, there's some things that I recognized in there that are the 3 or 4 novel worth. I could develop that, and extracting from the rest of the bullshit.
Yeah, you know, my plans for this are to actually like essentially yank, like, the only thing that will be left when I'm done is like AI will have come up with the idea, and, you know, most of the lyrics are going to stay the way they are. There's some tweaks that most certainly need to be made. You know, because I don't understand the phrase "choke the alarm."
I like that one though. I
Oh,
mean,
do
if it was a Prince song, or if Prince was a little more angsty, like, you know, that's the Manic Monday lyric right there. 6
Yeah,
o'clock already, I just choked the alarm.
These lyrics do have a, you know, Prince and Trent Reznor got together and did some acid and then wrote something.
May I? So firstly, I think this is such a fantastic experiment, and I'm really grateful you did this and you brought it to us. I'm grateful. Thank you for being bold enough to do this and putting yourself right in the firing line, man. That's
Oh yeah,
bold.
no. I could feel the rounds hitting my chest.
Yeah, I could feel them hitting the wall behind me after they went through my body. And it's now this is great because it has there are some great ideas in this. And again, congratulations for saying 3/4, because it did 3/4 and it worked. It really does work.
Yeah, and I you know, I like, I'm really, really, like, it is very easy to write like 4 on the floor stuff. Anybody can essentially do that. Like, it is nice, it's predictable, it's easy to fall into that trap. But I've gotten so damn tired of all of the like Boots and Cats music out there that I need to see stuff happen that isn't exactly that. And this was an opportunity to test that as well and look at works. It like that technically is actually pretty close. I'm pretty close to happy with that.
And I'd also be recommending that you pull the chord, like actually turn the chords into MIDI so you can see what the chords are. Turn the vocal into MIDI so you can see what the vocal is doing.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's some great things in that vocal. That's all I got. If you want to reply to that, or if you don't, I'm going to throw it to the resonator.
Throw it away.
And then, Alex, you're really quiet here, man. Resi, what do you got? Alex, I want you to shoot your mouth off soon.
Yeah, I'll shut up if Alex says something.
I don't know. I just don't feel like talking about it today. Maybe another topic, but doesn't float my
I feel
boat
that.
today.
You can feel the anger.
Let
from the
me
community.
try to riff then. I feel somewhat like filling airspace with things to say about this is really in the spirit of how generative music composers want us to operate. So Adam and Dee were saying something that struck me in the chat about collaborating and guaranteed to come out meh. But that's like I'm into that part. Strangely, I don't have an argument with it. I've spent, a couple of months, as I sort of mentioned every week since I've been doing it, that I've been collaborating with language models and agents to do programming projects and finishing stuff like crazy that I just hadn't done my whole life. Like I wrote basic programs to print, go to, 10, print, line 20, go to 10. Or maybe input string, that was the extent of my stuff. And now I'm writing, full-fledged desktop applications to do. Everybody writes a vibe coded to do thing. And mine is mine. This is my vibe coded to do list. And I think that there's probably a vibe coded sample drum kit and a vibe coded synth top line that we could probably benefit from. And I don't think it would necessarily suck, because that's the part where we curate, the part where we artist in a verb, the part where we can offer our very opinionated expertise or just opinions. Like my hope, where am I going with this? That amateurs with ideas and taste, untrained, non-musical, brilliant opinions, that people have. I love the gatekeeping. I love the fact that it took a lot of years to figure out how to make a song. And that thing that I was going on about, like inspecting a genre and pushing the boundaries, that could take years and years. But in the moment, if somebody with a lot of ideas can go to string a set of tools together, insert their opinions every place that those tools make a noise or a choice, it's not that different than the arduous path of sample digging and synth programming and genre inspection to see if we're in the right, if the bass timbre is correct for, synth wave and all those decisions that we make as we're doing it with the harder tools. In the same way that classical composers don't generally play all of the instruments in a symphony orchestra, you can still impart your deep, emotionally connected artistry on the tools. And just because they are generative computer modeled tools, I don't think is the big defining difference. I think right now, there's a lot of sameness that comes out of them, but I think that that's our responsibility as creatives to push beyond and eliminate that sameness and rally against it and destroy that sameness and find the uniqueness in the tools and exploit that and make stuff and put it on a timeline and move things around and do what we do. I don't know if that's a shortcut anymore, but the shortcut that I'm looking for isn't a time one with music. I want it to take forever. I don't care. I enjoy making music. It is the getting inspired by a thing. And you can find it in a lot of places. And if one of the other places that we can find it is in saying, hey, Suno, here are the 3 words. Hey, Claude Code, for fuck's sake. What do you connect to make me a collection of synthesizer tools? And as I said 2 months ago, hey, Chappie, make me an Ableton Live set with drum kit channel strips that have compressors, EQ basics, and a minor key vocal idea, and it does it. Like, these are all starting places and possible shortcuts and possible moment of inspiration sparks that we can rely on. And I think that doesn't change, and I think it doesn't have to change. I think it's our, still our sovereign duty to do stuff with. So there.
No, and do stuff with is probably like the most important takeaway here is because, like, yeah, there's the AI, which is making some slop, but, taking that slop and trying new things with it and extending it a little further into not slop is, not necessarily a bad idea. Um, and much like other, like, this is, the tool is going in and parsing and turning the data of all of the other songs available into statistics so that it can get
That's
you.
what we do anyway. That's what we're doing. That's
What
not
we
the
do
that's not a
anyway. But
problem.
also, like if I can see a little further, it's because I stood on the shoulders of giants. Does apply here. You just got an elevator up to the top first instead of having to walk all those stairs. All right.
Alex, since your hand is up and I see Carl gesturing in desperation, let's go to what you have to say, because I'm sure it'll
Yeah,
bring us down to earth or blast us off into
maybe
space.
I think maybe it would be more interesting if people would train their own models and make stuff with that instead of just using what Suno or Sora or however those companies are called provide to you. Because if you have like your own curated input, it will be unique because you selected it and it will
Yeah.
have a certain bias. Also, because you have so little data, it will get weird, which I think is great.
I 100% agree with you. And you told me 2 weeks ago now to probably roll my own models instead of using, and this was in a different context, but you're like, yeah, well, you could probably get away with running your own local models for things. And this is getting deeply technical and kind of away from a lot of people's concept of creative, but it is absolutely a creative process. And just because it's something that maybe I didn't know about 6 months ago, that it even existed, or somebody right now has no idea what you're talking about, it is a vector, a dimension of modern creativity that people are, instead of telling Suno, I'm going to paraphrase what you just said without 3-letter acronyms for Carl. Instead of telling Suno to write a song, you get a thing that does what Suno does without anything in its mind and give it your library to listen to and build from very difficult to use right now tools. You've got let's say if you're a Windows or Mac user who's never opened a terminal and typed commands verbally, you're going to be at a disadvantage doing this. But these step-by-step kind of tutorials, man, you could do this. You could do it if it's anything interesting to you, like it is, I assume, to the 3 people left on the panel right now with a history of having to use these tools for things. There are packages on Hugging Face. There are YouTube tutorials that say how exactly you're going to have to do this. There are step-by-step blog posts about how they did it and lots of answers and lots of people right now discovering this stuff excitedly. So to bring it back to what I was trying to paraphrase about Alex without getting distracted by my own excitement for the stuff, rolling your own dumb tools with empty minds that run on your computer and can generate stuff that is an artifact, a true thing that you can then go use, is a pretty exciting decision point about this greater discussion of what we've been talking about, like where you draw the line for if you're going to bake a pie first, you must invent the universe, to paraphrase Carl Sagan and Alex in the same breath, because they're both on to something here. And so let me throw it back to you if I can, Alex. Like, does this sort of echo what you're saying, and have I munged it beyond what you were saying? And is there more we can add about encouraging people to actually approach some of these tools naively instead of fed with the corpus of all music?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just you could also take something pre-trained and then train it again into your direction. But I think my point is that as long as people just taking off the shelf things, it will probably be more samey than if people take a real typical artist's mindset and go the mile beyond. Because I feel like if you have like trained artists, they have like a certain way of making things unreal in a way, because they take just things like paint and transform it into something that's more than the material it was made of, and that you sort of forget that you're looking at paint.
I think that there's something like globally philosophical right there that I think René Magritte, Ceci n'est pas un pipe, you know, like it's kind of sophomoric now, but to say this is not the music, this is a representation of the music. You know, it's an interesting extra meta contextual thought to put on top of it, rather than just kind of rocking out with a guitar in a room, not recording it. I bought an amp this past week, so I'm familiar with the feeling of turning distortion on and having these amps are loud, man. Like there's a feeling, there's a real visceral connection to the thing. I have it turned all the way down and it's still loud, and there's a little notch there. If you go past 1, I can't make it to 11 in this place. Neighbors will flip out. So I shoved the amp in the ISO booth, and I still get this like directness about creating in the moment, hearing the music that I'm making with my own hands and vibrating the air in my own room. And I didn't build the guitar, I didn't wire up the amp, but I'm one step more connected to it than I was somehow putting it through the computer and doing it that way. I'm not sure exactly what it is. There's an immediacy there that I think probably a violinist, or when I'm holding an acoustic guitar, or, you know, singing in a room, these things are so much more connected to the human body. And I don't know if that's the spark that I was referring to before. And I don't know if deciding to roll your own generative music model has the same visceral properties, but it does have the same connection to creativity, because there's excitement. And this might not even be what you're talking about, Alex. I don't know at this point. Just going on. The same excitement about when you discover how to wire up two things together and they make a thing that is similar to kicking back and rocking out with guitar and turning up the distortion. There's a frisson, this excitement, a moment that, I made a thing, then an artifact now exists and I can do something with that. So, Carl, I see your hand is up, and if you're back, give me a sign.
Thanks, baby.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Thank you. I'm having a great computer day today, and Zoom actually crashed. Alex, did you want to keep talking? I see your hand is still up.
Maybe if I had
yeah.
a wish list, then it would be a tool that automatically cuts your multi-sampled recording from one WAV file into multiple and puts it into something that, I don't know, Contact or so understands.
Will you vibe code that this week? It's not a long reach. That's like an afternoon's worth of work. It doesn't even have to have a nice GUI. You can let it run in a web interface. You could make that. No.
I feel
you said
like
you want it.
I would want to do it on my own and only ask for advice if I'm stuck, but
yeah,
it's just my pride.
I think you should. I mean, you don't even have to share it. You don't have to open source it. You don't have to publish it. Private Git repository and everything, and just tell us you did it. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it. A battle of who can come up with a sample extraction, vibe coded. It'll have a purple background and rounded rectangle graphics, though. I could guarantee you that much. Carl,
welcome back.
Bring us back to earth.
Thank you. No. Once again, I'm really thinking about myself here, because I'm a selfish prick. And I'm really thinking about how I probably need to sit down and realize how there has been yet another great revolution in music, and I need to acknowledge that. You don't need to if you don't want to, but it's like once upon a time it was, hey man, what synth did you use? Hey man, what chords did you use? Now it's, hey man, what prompts did you use? And Ivan, that's actually one of the first questions I asked you. What prompts did you use? And I need to be okay with the idea that people who make prompts are going to, like, if some, how many songs have you heard that are totally based on music, weird fucking sounds? Quite a few. So they're synth programmers. And we were having this conversation recently. Are they luthiers or are they fucking guitarists? Are they, and also, can you vibe code that? Like, and these are words that are now a part of the music vernacular. So I need to be okay with it. And yeah, I know you guys don't like it, and I know that, well, some people don't like it, but it's here. And as it goes on, it'll get better. And the question is increasingly, what can you learn from this? What can you take from this? What can you utilize from this? What things do you do in the musical realm that you don't fucking enjoy, that you can utilize what it's bringing, remembering that with every interaction, it's going to get better. And it's like, man, I fucking hate mixing. I hate mixing. But the truth of the matter is that AIs are very good at mixing. And yes, it's all going to sound like the same thing, but isn't that what I'm trying to do anyway? When I mix a track, I'm trying to get rid of the craziness in it or harness the craziness in it to make it more palatable. And so that people can hear it and make sense of it. That's what I do. Maybe it's not what you do, but it's what I fucking do. So, yeah, D, look, this, my stuff there is, I would never play a demo track. Never, 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 never. Because it's pure fucking crazy. And it's like, oh, this doesn't make any sense though. And there's craziness and then there's craziness. And part of that craziness is, that 2K, 5K thing that cuts your head off, that really, fuck frequency. I don't like that kind of craziness. And because my music's based on a lot of distortion and banging of metal, that's in there a lot. So I got to get rid of that shit. Same with the low thumps and all that stuff. Not the pretty thumps. Oh, that's a cool thump. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, dude, I think my speakers are breaking. That shit. So that's just how I feel. Alex, your hand's still up. I'd love to hear if you have more thoughts on this.
The thing that I'm sort of missing is the equivalent of the punk rockers of the AI age, because I don't know, it's just most of it won't. There are some things that I found interesting, but I feel like there are no punk rockers.
I totally agree with you. And that is currently a limitation that I have noticed myself in my very small dabblings of it, is that the lyrics are not cutting it. The lyrics are not really laying it down politically. The lyrics are not offensive because AIs aren't allowed to be offensive. And also, like, the music isn't terribly offensive either. Although maybe I'm not using the right prompts. If I said, write me a pop song that sounds like Wagner wrote it, now that's interesting. What would it sound like? The musicality of could it pull off Wagner's madness or whatever? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I totally agree with you. And there's a larger thing here that, it's the whole slop thing. It's the generation of slop. Is what does rebellion look like now? Although from where I stand, this generation is doing a damn fine job of being rebels right now. But anyway, that's just me, and that goes into another context that we don't need to talk about right now. Alex, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, if I sort of remember what AI art made me has taken me aback. It was like one person doing it very, very early, and things looked like really fucked up, and the other were things that were very niche and very wipey. Like there's one image that went around of Goth Princess Peach, and they sort of nailed the retro game ads feeling of these early CGI renders.
Mm.
That was something that I really liked. But other than that, it's like was like really far in between, like really far. Like not like, oh, I hate trap music, but there are like these two tracks I like, but it's even more far apart.
Mm.
So
And I'm
it's
glad.
like, yeah,
Sorry. Thank you. And trap music's a great example of it because, come on, how much slop is in trap music? How many people call Lil all sound the same? And how many goth bands all sound the same? And how many ba 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 sound the same? And how long has it always been that they sound the same? And I was thinking before when my computer was dying, can you name me 5 grunge bands from the 90s who really sucked? I mean, really sucked, were signed. And you'd have to dig around to find them because they have disappeared. And that's the thing is that you just gotta keep fucking pushing it. Um, Alex, did you want to add to this or can I throw it to the
yeah,
Ivan?
maybe
Please.
as someone who used it myself, I really love it for shit posts. Like I sit there and type, make me a polka song about the specificities of the MIDI spec. Go into detail about the bits, what each bit means and such, and it does it. And it's like really funny because it's such a mismatch. And also, I tried to make a sorta glitch, but it just wouldn't do it. I typed in like random text, like really random um, symbols, and it just had like these symbols appear in the air, and someone was sitting there, oh wow, what does that mean? But it wouldn't like glitch out, which I was hoping for. Maybe a thing I could try is to just have words in their frequency that I use in the English language, but just randomly assigned. But I'm too lazy to do that right now. But like it was really, really hard to do that. Like I was kind of disappointed.
So thanks. Yeah, totally, man. Like I have asked it to do David Carlson X kind of artwork. Who's the grungy fucking guy from the 90s, and he's still going. Couldn't do it, and it refused to do it because it said it was offensive. I don't know. Maybe I said something wrong. Ivan, I'm going to throw this to you. Thank you, Alex, by the way.
Yeah. Right now, the public AIs are really on rails, so they will avoid being any kind of vaguely offensive or terribly offensive or obnoxiously offensive, because in the early days of AI, those rails weren't working very well and they got themselves into some trouble. So they're going to do everything they can to prevent themselves from potentially getting into trouble now. So that leads us to the next, thing, which, Alex, you're 100% right. I think that you can do a far better job with a, curated, self-trained AI that really focuses on what you care about and what you find interesting. Because now you can go and dig through that and find, and it will help bring out, the things that you find interesting. And I think that is where kind of like the punk rock of AI is going to happen, is in, models that are self curated and managed and, built, from junk machines in your, back room, networked together. And hey, good news, I've got a whole Proxmox cluster of compute nodes here at home that I can start. I just need to find a good model, or I need to find a good thing that I can, build a model on. Because I've got the spare compute to do it. So there's that, and I really think that could make a big difference. Raziel's over here making faces.
Do it now, LM Studio. You don't need to do anything complicated. I revised what I said before about needing to jump into the command line. There's a nice GUI app that you can, what you're looking for, Alex, Carl, your lack of punk rock and your desire to have things that don't have the guardrails baked in, just search for uncensored, unfiltered, jailbroken, deregulated, de-guardrailed, safety stripped, guardrail stripped, jailbreak tuned versions of the models. Run it on your own thing and start prompting. Like this is now. You don't have to there's nothing. You can do it. I mean, and you don't need a compute cluster for this. You can run the 4B models on a 16 gig, 24 gig RAM, whatever. My Mac thing that I bought years ago runs this stuff just fine and doesn't have memory pressure beyond, I wouldn't run multiple stuff and try to render a video and do music at the same time because it's going to dominate your cores. But right now you can fuck with this stuff in ways that, obviously Suno's not going to make something glitchy. It's supposed to make songs that you can listen to and compete with Taylor Swift. But a deregulated thing that wasn't trained to make rock songs come out the other end is going to do much more interesting stuff in the way that we're talking about punk rock, about Alex's idea of things that you haven't heard that are weird, that are surprising, and about Ivan's idea of running the stuff, locally and getting over, the moment to run it on your compute cluster. You don't have to download the app, select the model, search on unfiltered and uncensored, and, just ask it how to glitch. Chappie, how do I make this make audio? Well,
this is cost.
No, there doesn't. These are
and
open
I
source.
threatened you with death last time. I said, if you say Chappie again, I'm going to come to your fucking house.
I thought you liked Chappie.
I don't like Chappie.
But you know the reference, right? Chappie, IE.
I don't care.
Fucking robot from the Sony movie that featured the...
Even more reason not to use it.
All right.
Oh, yeah. I know where you live. I'm coming.
My sarcasm knows no bounds, but it's probably too subtle and couched in non-sarcasm.
Is this free?
This is free. Yeah, these are open source models. They are the ones that Anthropic and Alibaba and Musk and Facebook all released as the versions that you can just download and use. They're not their frontier models that run for pay, but they're the ones that are small enough to fit on your computer. LM Studio is a app that you can click on stuff and do things in pretty easily rather than type commands with. And uncensored, unfiltered models are community contribute versions of these things where people have reverse engineered them to take out the don't be a Nazi codes, probably, so be careful about what you're going to see. But they'll also then not be trained to create a song. They are generalized models, so you can do stuff with them. It's pretty creative, pretty gratifying when they do end up doing something. And I think, a couple months ago was the first time on this panel we said, hey, make some John Bonham drums, and it did come up with something kind of weird, it didn't sound like John Bonham drums, but made some noises. Anyway,
I like it. I thought they were good bottom drums.
Yeah, totally. I mean, but these are things we can do today, this afternoon, right now, that are relatively accessible and easy, and do some of the things that we're, if only, about.
Thank you. That's fascinating. Can I just tell you about my very quick experience this week with AI? Carl's getting his Australian passport renewed. And for those who don't know, getting a passport in Australia renewed is very difficult because Australia is very particular about it, because Australia's money, passport, etc., is basically unforgeable. So there's a whole bunch of bullshit you have to jump through. So I have been wading through ChatGPT, asking it about, okay, how the fuck do I do this? And I have to get people to guarantor that that is actually me, and I have to have known them for 12 months, and they have to be these professions for them to do that, and blah, 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 blah. And that was what it was like last time I did it 10 years ago in Chicago. And I had a nervous breakdown over this shit because it's such a pain in the ass. And I have to release my passport to the embassy for 6 weeks, which I was extremely fucking nervous about. So I just had one more thing to check out. So I called the embassy and I said, look, blah, 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 blah. And they go, wait, you don't have to do that anymore. You just send in some paperwork and we'll do it for you. And I said, I was checking your website and also checking ChatGPT. And he goes, don't check ChatGPT. And I said, okay. And he goes, all that stuff is based on older information. This is newer information that we're trying to make it easier for Americans, Australians who are overseas. And yeah, but so I don't have to release my passport. I don't have to get a guarantor. It's a lot easier. Um, and it's just a really interesting, it was an interesting reminder of that. As much as I do love the shortcut of asking an AI how to fucking do this, it's not always accurate because information does change. And although it is saying, I got this information from the website here. Anyway, do we want to keep talking about, yes, Rosie, talk to me.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I am constantly reminding any chatbot that I use that I'm always on the latest version of something. New information probably has come out since the first thing that you find, so you have to iterate at least twice to find newer information. Make sure that when you do retrieve information, you then cycle back to find out what is newer than that information. And you add these reminders and add them to your prompt system or the upper level models of your things. You'll be a little more likely to not have to remind it every single time you ask something to check. It's not a guarantee, but if you are routinely using bots, chat text prompting as your search for information thing, it can help a little bit and just make your life that much easier. Different desktop versions of these things have different ways of reminding them, but if it responds with saved memory or something like that, you'll know that it's the kind of thing that it might remember for next time. And maybe in a couple of weeks you'll have to remind it again. Keep it on your clipboard, make sure it's in your settings, personality, shit like that. But it is like, they're useful. Like if you're a person like I am who thinks in I want to press the key that lets me talk at it and it comes out with a block of text and I don't know what I said, but the answer comes out. As opposed to going to Google and typing the thing and looking through the stuff. This is a way of increasing the likelihood that you'll get relevant, timely, and, well, relevant because you told it what's relevant to you, and timely because you instructed it to iterate a couple of times to make sure it's actually new.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Hey, can we change the subject briefly? I want to name drop. So, this week, I had the absolute fucking... So as you may be aware, I'm a big David Lynch fan. And this week at one of the theaters I work on, they did a tribute to David Lynch and to Twin Peaks, and half the cast was there. So I sat with Laura Palmer for like 10 minutes having a chat to her. And also Barbie. And they're all pushing 60 now. Fucking Laura Palmer, man. The woman who plays, I forgot her name already. Amazing human being. So firstly, the thing I love about working in a theater is you can tell instantly if it's a good show and if the management above them are good people. Because if they're grumpy, which they always are, it means management sucks and everybody is grumpy because they're doing a shit job and the tour sucks. These people came in who are ultimate fucking stars in my mind, full of love. They were grateful. They were wonderful. And all of them, I might start crying, all of them, you could tell that they loved David Lynch. They loved this guy as a man, as a father, as a big brother, as a guide, as a mentor, as a fucking Gandalf. They loved this guy. And they were full of graciousness. They were full of humility. And I've been in the same room with Zoe fucking whatever Avatar chick, and I've so many A-listers at that theater. I don't give a shit. I don't fucking care. They're doing their job. It is LA, and there's a thing in LA that you don't fanboy. You just do your fucking job because they don't want that to happen. But I, for the first time ever, totally fucking fanboyed. And everybody who works there are massive Lynch fans. And it was interesting because I was saying, this is so ironically, because Twin Peaks, when you break it down and everything Lynch did, it's about LA and it's about how weird fucking Los Angeles is. And I was just saying, this is the LA within LA within the LA. Like, this is, if there was a secret fucking society, this is it. And they're full of awesome human beings. And And it was funny that the actor who plays Laura Palmer, as a lot of people are, they get a little anxious. And we had to set up an area where different actors could go and sit in this area and just chill out for a little bit because the fans are pretty fucking overwhelming. It was there to talk about Lynch and to celebrate David Lynch. And so there was a lot of things there that would trigger someone. And and we made sure that actor had water and was okay, and people were hanging out with her and then give him some space. And then there was another actor who was just sleeping in the room because they couldn't deal with it. Then came time for autographs. Every single one of those actors showed up, and they sat at a table bombarded by fans, talking to the fans until 1 a.m. And they were absolute professionals, but these were people who had been guided by a master, a fucking Jedi, and they were full of love and full of gratitude. And it was such a fantastic experience too. I was inspired that I thought, because I think, our love's bullshit. But then, the whole, we need to love more, fuck off. What does that really mean? And then I saw what it meant. And I was really inspired. And they said the only person he ever totally lost his shit at, he ever screamed at in front of everyone, was an intern, and she ended up being the executive producer because he pulled her aside and said, "I'm so sorry." And so it was an absolute blessing, an absolute wonderful thing. So there is my impart of positive energy to you today. Remember that the seeds of positivity and hope that you give out, you may never see them grow, but they're there. Alex, talk to me.
You caught me off guard. Sorry, I was eating. I think an interesting thing is that, at least to my knowledge, he often casts not so well-known actors, but if he has good chemistry with an actor, he'll stick to them. And I think that's a really interesting approach. Yeah.
Yeah, because it wasn't just, and it was Cheryl Lee. Thank you very much, Alex. The actor's name was Cheryl Lee. Wow. Redefine professional and redefine somebody who understands that their job isn't just to act. It is to bring a message to people and to embrace, to love, support the people who get that message and have been affected by the message. Isn't that something to think about? And it's the same with musicians and artists. That's something ChatGPT can't do. Anyway, and that was the other thing, is that wow, you were also in Mulholland Drive and in Dune. Some of the people who were in Dune, and the guy that played Lurch was there, Carl, I can't remember his name. He's a very tall gentleman, very gentle, wonderful man. Oh God, it was such a beautiful event. That was it. That's all I wanted to name drop. We could keep talking about David Lynch, or Razi could tell us about the new compressor that he got.
I could do that. I don't know what there is to say about it really, but Amazon Basics, this was $17. It compresses. It's a guitar pedal. It didn't come with a power supply, but what is there to say about it? I have had a couple of coveted limiter and compressor pedals in my closet waiting for repair for the past, say 15 years, but 2 years of thinking about getting out a soldering iron and fixing them. And I was like, you know what, man, whatever economy is going on here with these things, it's a metal box. It's the mini form factor. I figured $17 and Amazon's return policy. I checked out a couple of reviews and people were like, yeah, Amazon Basics, it's good. It's a compressor. It's sold. That's enough for me. Yeah, it's good. It's a compressor. It's cheap enough. And I think it's normally 30 or so, but on sale. So this level of inexpensive, all analog circuit board stuff, non-emulated, kind of fun. It is the missing compression stage that I was looking for. And since I bought an amp, I needed, a whole chain of pedals to step away from the computer with and not use any amp sims. And I don't know if I'll record that chain anytime soon. I haven't even mic'd it up yet, but for playing in the room and vibing out, jamming along with the songs that are on the player, definitely works. And I don't know, man, like most of the pedals that I have, they do one thing and I don't leave them on and I put them back in the box. But I think this one, until I repair some of my classics, my MXR and the whatever else I have in there, this will stay in the chain. You know, it'll be my first stage buffer thing that I plug the guitar into before even the tube preamp stage, for clean mostly. But yeah, it's the main thing is, just in case anybody's wondering why you'd want one, when I play quietly, the dynamics are still pretty much up in the louder range, but there's a little bit of, like, when you play harder, it still gets a bit louder. It just reduces the dynamic range there. And with the attack time being low, some of the plucks peek through no matter which level you're playing at. That's the effect. So
Yeah. Thank you so much. Hey, can I be a trolling cunt for a minute?
Why?
I know.
Why start now?
It's really good that, thank you for bringing Amazon Basics to our attention, because it's great to find a company that's more ethical and moral than Behringer.
There we are. You asked if it was a B company, and we might as well just
and
Behringer Basics.
This is fascinating because, once again, there's so many things about my own bigotry that I'm really questioning. You know, there's so many things about, and it's good to look at, you know, all the shit that you formulate in your brain and go, you know, because, like, I'm not going to take anything. I'm not going to comment on morals or anything like that, because, look, I'll be honest, I can't afford ethics. I can't afford it. Unfortunately, I am in a class that cannot afford ethics, because ethics and morals are expensive to maintain. They fucking well are. And maybe we need to be looking at that instead of finger pointing at people who use Behringer. And it is incredible. Look, something I love about Behringer, dope is even better, is that it is allowing lower income people like me access musical things. Same with Amazon. It's allowing us to do it. I can't afford to take on, I do not have the financial privilege to stand back and talk about the ethics of that. I don't have the privilege. We should talk about that. So this is something that I'm really thinking about, and it's something that I am trying to break the mold of my snobby, bigoted, arrogant thought process, that I have to stop thinking the way I think. And I just actually had a look on Amazon Basics. Didn't see that they did a distortion pedal, but they're doing other stuff. And I'm sure, like, there's Donor and there's a whole bunch of other stuff that's coming. I think that right now, my tendency is, you know what? If you want to fuck with the machine, if you want to do something about this class system, buy Behringer, buy Amazon, and use that in music that is telling these companies to fuck off, because you can't get any more cyberpunk than that when you are taking the things of these corporations and using it against them. That is cyberpunk. So I need to remind myself of these things. I need to remind myself that this is giving a voice to the voiceless, and a lot of those voices are speaking anti of those companies. So I'm such a cunt, and I've got to deal with that shit. Did anybody else want to?
Yeah, one thing's for sure is, like, buying these at the lowest part of the, you know, you got one of the price tracker thing that tells you when last time it was on sale and all that shit right on the page. I think that's a little bit cyberpunk, is, you know, injecting your own price tracker right into Jeff Bezos's layout. I don't, you know, the morality of this thing, like the people that built this and did the fabrication and stuff are probably suffering worse human rights guarantees and levels of respect and safety than we would want. That is something to acknowledge. I think that's an important thing to remember and remind ourselves, and thank, you know, the people that made it. But also, these are made a lot of them by a lot of robots where there aren't any people involved. There are production lines where they are fully automated. I don't know if this came from one of those, and I'm not trying to justify it, but it is an interesting fact that some of the cleanest, most safe rooms are the ones where there's 100 meters of just robot production lines doing the QC assembly, taking it off, putting the screen printing on, and giving you a widget out the other side. And this could be a product of that for all I know. So that's an interesting thing to at least acknowledge. Also buying it at the lowest price, buying it secondhand, and at least also the economy of having it delivered with the other batch of stuff that's coming to your house rather than driving in a car to go to a music store. I think there's also an ecological calculation to at least think about whether I'm on the right side or wrong side of it. There was a bin this big in my lobby every day, and if my thing is grouped in with that instead of me making a separate trip to go get it, there's an impact to consider there that might be positive, might be negative. But yeah, thank you, Carl, for doing the bastard version of what to consider with this thing. Is like there's so much more wrapped up in this politically and ethically to think about than just, well, yeah, it compresses and it works. I don't know. Yeah, no, let me leave it at that. Thanks for bringing that up. Good points.
So yeah, I mean, like I'm reading some of these comments. Thanks for the comments. And it's a fun thing to go, well, here's my rack of Behringer stuff or whoever stuff. I will only use that when I'm destroying the corporations, which in my case is most things. But I will say again, if you're looking for a brand that is built better and takes the concept and pushes it further, Dopefer. Fucking go Dopefer. I love Dopefer.
I have some absolutely handmade versions of larger things that I spent a lot of money on, and I use them and I love them and they're great. And I have, like, they're definitely not, let's say, IP ripped off Chinese factory products. They were more some European country handmade kind of boutique-y products, and they're a lot more expensive, and they don't necessarily do the job better, but I get a different feeling from it, and they do a different job really well. And they definitely heat my room when I turn them on, but I can't afford to do that every time. As you were saying, Carl, there's no world in which I would have instead bought one of the $400 really nice boutique compressor pedals. I wouldn't have. And obviously I wouldn't have done the repairs with high voltage and, the risk to burning down my house that the pedals that I already have do. So there's a lot of justification that I'm sort of like post hoc making here. But there was also, this thing was $17 and I have it and I'm using it. Like, I don't know.
Thank you. Yeah, this is good. It's an interesting thing. And like my thing is, as you can tell, is I really need to question, because I've got so much anger in me. And I think I need to start going through the anger and spring cleaning the anger. I need to go into those drawers of, why I'm so angry about this. Go fucking get over it, Anyway, because I am literally spring cleaning my house. I've got so many unfinished projects, unfinished grief. Wow, unfinished symphony. What is going on here? Hey, if we want to keep bitching about this, we most welcome can. Or Ivan's chomping at the fucking bit to talk about. Oh no, Alex, talk to me.
Well, I wouldn't want to stop Ivan, but maybe if he's looking for something to tell us, I would be interested how happy he is with the Juno chorus behind him.
With what?
Sorry, the Juno chorus effect.
Ivan got a Juno chorus? When the fuck did Ivan get a Juno chorus? Is that the TC Helicon? What is it? Oh, you prick. When did you get that? Hey, welcome back. This is Gear Acquisition. This is Gas with Ivan. Ivan, talk about that.
Yeah,
because I would like to know.
I got this ages ago, and it's actually quite nice.
Are they line level inputs?
Oh, June with an E. That's clever. I see.
Are they line level inputs?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. And is it a stereo out or a mono out?
It does mono and stereo.
Wow.
Yeah.
So going around.
There's a little switch right there.
Wow.
and it does a good job. This is, Juno chorusy as Juno chorusy gets. Like, does the job. And I don't even remember it being all that terribly expensive.
Does it have all the hissy whooshing noise that a
It
Juno
kinda
chorus
does.
provides? Really, TC? Because that's against their usual model of
If you want to
quiet.
kill that, you stomp on it and, turn it on or off, and you either get it or you don't.
I know my
Oh,
JX3P
yeah,
has
like-
that effect
like
when
that.
you engage chorus and it's whoosh.
Yeah,
Immediately.
that like hissy Juno chorus background noise is kind of part of what the Juno's chorus is. Would be weird without it. Super happy with that pedal. And then speaking of gear acquisition syndrome, this is that magic week. Guess what's going on?
Nam and Anaheim.
We've all done our time in Nam. I'm doing another tour.
Are you coming?
No, I wish. I gotta support that. I gotta support that this by from a distance this time. But this year's looking reasonably good. Should we say the words? The word
Which one? There's so many words.
Leviasynth.
Leviasynth. Okay. Hold on. Alex, did you still want to talk? Because he's going to go on a rant.
Yeah, but maybe after him if we still have
Okay.
time.
Maybe after him could be next year. Okay, Ivan, break out the popcorn.
Yeah. Hey, well, I mean, it does look like like they've done a good job on this. Like 8 oscillators. It speaks FM nicely. It's got that whole like morphing thing going on. Like, I haven't gotten one in front of me yet, but like I can't wait to get one in front of me. So I'm really hoping they show up at SynthCon this year. Because that's probably the soonest I'm gonna get one in front of me. Oh wait, no, I'll probably see one when we're at Perfect Circuit later this year. Because a trip to LA always includes a trip to Perfect Circuit because it's fun to go there. And like there's a surprising amount of like new, well thought out gear for that's showing up at this year's NAMM. Some of it I totally am interested in. A bunch of it I'm not really all that particularly interested in. But like I think Fender's doing something interesting with audio interfaces. But like it is kind of too underpowered for my rack anyways. But if this was 10 years ago, I would have been like, oh yeah, one of those is great.
Okay, so we're talking about gear acquisition. Alex, your hand is up. Did you want to talk about gas?
I have to say this time around I'm not so interested in them, but other than that, I have a topic later if there's time, but
Okay.
no.
We will circle back to that. Thank you. Razi, what are you thinking?
Real standout. It's not new, and neither of these two things that I've been interested in are actual unveiled at NAMM releases. But I thought you were going to go for the Korg Phase 8 as finally existing.
Yeah.
This is a physical device with tines in the spirit of maybe like a kalimba or a Rhodes piano, but they're magnetically actuated with feedback loops in the spirit of maybe, let's say, Infinite Guitar or the Sustainiac or Ebo. I don't know what you can get from it because most of the demos have been, well, not inspirational. The machine and the design and the Korg Berlin group of designers are really neat, really interesting. And this device is mechanical, it's metal, it's got magnets and shit, and you can hit it with a stick. Like, that's cool. but I haven't heard like, that's the thing I would do with it, which maybe, I don't know. I wouldn't mind having one. I think that there's a lot to be interested in there about like what you can lean on it and see how it distorts the music that you're getting out of it. And sequencing a rhythmic thing with physical world stuff. There's probably some hacking you could do pretty deeply to fuck with this machine. Interesting. Step sequencer, metal tines, magnets, feedback loops, and play it, physically kind of stuff where the tines are exposed so you can mess with them. Real interesting combination. And then the other thing, a few weeks ago, I mentioned putting a formant filter after my Valhalla future verb to do some guitar monk style choir effects. I remembered where I got the idea from after doing it, and these guys displayed MentalWorks. Monk Echo is the name of the device, and that's another like design first. Like, yeah, the feature set is the salient, like splashy one is that it makes choirs of monk-like verbs, but it's an interesting topology where you touch a button, and then you set what the morph knob does. Not in a way that I've seen other devices do. Maybe there's a precedent for this, but so when you want to go between setting 1 and setting 2, you touch a couple of things and you there's a spinny knob on it. Like it's very interesting, meant to be on your desktop as opposed to under your feet as a pedal, but it's in that pedal form factor. But it's pretty, like looks like kind of thing that you'd want to mess with, and it sounds real good. So put those two things together, and I don't know, maybe on a desk the Korg thing and this MentalWorks thing would be a really exciting combo of stuff to just like meditate with or get ethereal with. Really interesting. And now everybody's shopping.
Yeah, fuck you. Yeah, so this is fascinating because I actually looked at that Phase 8. I put myself down on the list to get notified about it because it's super limited. And then I was looking at it and stuff, and of course I went, I've always wanted to get a inducer and to use the blaster beam more creatively and artistically. And fucking years ago, I got a piece of metal, steel, beautiful thin piece of steel, that's still over there. And I was like, I'm going to use this somehow. And it's a reminder that, if I could be fucked, because I did a stream where I used a lot of blaster beam, and I was doing weird things on the blaster beam, and I've just got me fucking mallet I mentioned last week. I still haven't fucking used it. And it's a reminder that I have so many things sonically to fuck with. And I've always wanted to get an inducer, and you can get them quite inexpensively, to be sending signal through the blaster beam or basically anything to create weird fucking sound. You can put an inducer on the wall and it'll turn your whole wall into a speaker. The quality of that speaker is, I don't know. Frankly, the worse, the better, because we're looking at sound designing. We're not looking, excuse me, at fidelity. Get a salad bowl. Now you're talking. So, yeah. Anyway, so, what's the, yeah, so it looks that acoustic thing is really interesting.
Yeah, the Phase 8, like the one limitation of like you needing, is it 12 tines, and you have to like sort of select which tine you want tuned to what note, and then you can retune them. It's a weird, like for the price, it's kind of a strange limitation, but it might be good. But like things that have a built-in scale that's not fully chromatic or retunable, like diatonic instruments, like the hand pans and stuff, like leave me like, if I'm going to get 7 harmonicas, okay, I'll get so I can change key and stuff. But getting locked into a mode or a scale, it's got enough notes that you can probably do something that sounds non-diatonic, but it is a weird thing to spend a lot of money on, given that it presents as, and it's a pain in the ass to retune and play in a different mode. Get around that. I mean, you know, put it in E and E minor and E minor pentatonic even, and just rock out, I guess. Like,
Never underestimate E minor pentatonic.
if you have a guitar around, you're halfway there. So,
I feel, did anybody else want to jump in on this, or do we want to throw this to Alex? Because I know Alex has got something fantastic to talk about. Then I want to bitch about Hans Zimmer. Alex, go talk to
I
me.
was going to say the Korg electro acoustic thing looks like a field day for composers. I personally think it would be really cool if there was maybe a version with more of them, so I could play them like with a keyboard or something like that, because I don't know, it's more. I don't know if a sequencer is the best interface for it, or at least the good as the only interface. It's cool that you can lay stuff up over it, so maybe you can modify the sound a bit. But what I originally wanted to talk about is I got a bit into mid-side processing as an idea, because I was like browsing YouTube, and there was like one how do you call it, like this mixer format, 500 format module with some stereo processor. And then I watched a review about it, and the guy compared it to the plugin. And then I watched a review of the plugin, and they said it's basically just mid-side processing and then an EQ on top of the side and the mid. And my question is, what else fun things could one do with only the mids or only the sides? I looked up, there is a Eurorack module that can split your sound, your left and right, into mids and sides. But in theory, you could also DIY it, because it's just, I think, 2 operational amplifiers, one with difference and one summing, and then the amplifier. So yeah, do you have any ideas what else one could do with mid-side processing your own signals?
Thank you so much. Before I throw this to Razi, can you do me a favor? What Eurorack module was it, and can you put it in the chat? Razi, I'll throw it to you.
Okay.
The main thing is get a figure of 8 mic into Omni and do real, like with actual mid-side processing of a room for your stereo, because it is as a utility. What is the hallmark of mid-side? It collapses to mono nicely, like the phase information from the outer channels. But you can get stereo. You can derive stereo from, you know, the out of phase, in phase combination, pan the 2 things, one out of phase, one in phase, and you get basic stereo. It's but knowing your tools of taking decoding, let's say, your physical microphones to do mid-side with 2 mics is an interesting exercise. And keeping a pipeline of mid-side through your track to mix to stereo, that stuff does get lost a lot. It's not like an effect in my book. I think some people could probably absolutely argue that yes, it is an effect for my purposes, but I find that as a way to get stereo, it's often just one of the things. It's panoramic, it's wide, it sounds like width. But using the Ableton EQs in mid-side mode, so that you've got, instead of left and right, you've got a middle and a side. They are remarkably like uncanny, like, yeah, that's only affecting the middle of my image. Wow. Or, you know, cutting all the bass and boosting your treble and then splitting the 2 things off and putting the chorus, the modulation chorus into the sides and leaving the bass frequencies in the middle for a cohesive mix that'll translate well. These are cool things to do kind of stock, but they're not to the end user like revolutionary, remarkable. What am I even listening to? They just sound like a stereo mix, but you had the control at those levels to do some stuff. So those would be my 2 sort of things that I touch with mid-side is I've done a room recording of the piano or drums where the room mics are mid-side and you need to decode them. So knowing your tools to do that, which mics to select, how to make your 3 channels of audio, decode them properly, and then sticking the pipeline with the EQs and compressors. Are there compressors in Ableton that preserve mid-side? I don't even know. But certainly the EQs. That's been about where I've stopped the experimentation. But yeah, do those things.
If I may, while you're here, could you explain what mid-side is, please?
Yeah. Oh,
should
Alex, you
I-
want to take it? Please.
So it's really simple once you know it. So if you have like a left and right signal as a jack or a digital signal, you can then just add them together and you get like a mono, which is the mid. I think I might do it wrong. Maybe I explained then Raziel says what I did wrong. But you can also subtract them and get only the side information. Like what's the difference between the 2 channels? And then you can affect them differently and add them together again into left and right. And you can then alter the stereo image.
That's
Maybe
pretty much
also
it.
you can change the balance between both signals before you add them together again, and it will then be more wide or more narrow.
The classic sort of source where this comes from is to make a stereo recording with a pair of mics that aren't just like arbitrarily pointing or ear width or dummy head. You take a cardioid, you point that at your source, and you take a figure of 8, and that becomes your stereo component. So you can still isolate things and you have choices about what to do with it later, but you've got a decodable stereo image, mono image of a source in a room. And if you've got a great sounding room, you might want to use a bit of the sides, but cardioid pointing at the source, figure of 8 pointing at the things a figure of 8 points at because of that lobe in the middle. And then to decode it, left is mid minus side, phase flip it, 180 out of phase. Right is mid plus side. And you get put those on separate faders, and you can decide how much of it to push into the mix and how wide to make it sound. And I guess there's a lot of technique in how you align the capsules of the mics and how you place them and then how you balance them. And if you want to do some creative, not just 180 out of phase flipping, but edging your amount of phase relationships between the mono and the stereo stuff, you can do some interesting, trippy kinds of things. But to answer the question, yeah, the basics are if you're going to have a sourced mid-side original, you would have cardioid pointing at the thing, figure 8, 2 lobes pointing at the room, out, not pointing at the thing. So the null is where the cardioid is, the null of the figure 8, and then just record those. And then to decode it, it's a phase flip process of the 3 channels.
That's very fascinating. Thank you. Did you want to add anything else, or can I throw this to the Ivanator?
I think I explained it wrong. Maybe there's some thing where you once add the signals together, then you add the inverse of them, but maybe everyone can just read up on it. The basic thing, the basic concept, I think stands. And the reason why I'm interested in that is because I often have the problem. I have a mono source. I want to make it more white, but I don't like panning because it makes me uncomfortable if there's an imbalance between my left and right ear.
This is, if I can just jump in.
I'm so sorry. You don't like panning.
I was going to just take
What?
that as a given. I wasn't having any problem with that.
No. You don't. It's time for payout on Alex. You don't like panning.
If done right, it can be okay. But if I just have the snare mostly on the right side, it drives me nuts.
Yeah, I got your back.
There's
Alex.
nothing left to balance it out.
Exactly.
I know how I'm going to torture you.
It's emotional, man. You've got stuff on
okay,
the
okay,
left.
okay.
You gotta have stuff on the right.
But what about if
How can
you're
you live?
what if it's a little blippy bloopy line? If
Then
it's
you
a
make
little-
another one on the other side.
Oh my God.
Counterpoint.
No, Alex, what if it's a little blip blop? Can you have a blip blop over there, or do you need stereo?
It has to be something else in that spectrum, in that frequency range on the other side. Otherwise, it makes me uncomfortable. Unless I'm just listening with speakers. With speakers, sorry, with speakers, it's totally fine. But with headphones, it drives me nuts.
That's interesting.
He's right, you know.
Wow.
There's no, you can't question this.
And
It's just facts.
my hell is those old Beatles recordings where they are stereo, but you have the vocals on the one side and the instruments on the other side, and it's like, ugh. I
Same
then
with Bowie did that as well a lot.
put
That's
my
interesting.
my telephone into mono mode because I can't deal with it.
That's very interesting. Thank you, Rezi. Did you want to add to anything? Because Ivan's
Yeah, there
just
was
wondering.
something. Oh, there was the deriving stereo out of a mono source, which is very different than the mid-side recording process that I was talking about. If you want to widen something that doesn't have width, because you hate panning it to the left and you want it to fill the panoramic spectrum in some way, generally the go-to first thing that you do is you break that up into separate frequencies. If it's a full spectrum sound that has highs and lows in it, you take the high components and you put some of them to the left, like say a narrow bandwidth at 2K, pan it left. You take a narrow bandwidth at 5K and you pan it right. And what you're left with is the impression of a wide sound. This is technically the functional description of how you make something sound wide. There's non-correlated different things going on in the left and right speaker, or especially with headphones, because headphones aren't stereo, that's binaural. But the thing that you're piping to your left ear and right ear are now less correlated and different, and that is the sensation of width. And it's very effective and feels balanced if you do things of close frequencies, but you can do this with like major comb filtering of different frequencies to the left and different frequencies to the right, using delays, EQs, whatever you want to call it, phase shifting motion, so that you can keep your middle low frequency stuff solid as a focused central thing, and your higher frequencies spread out, giving the impression of space and width in the same way that a decorrelated echoey room does it. When you click in a room, you don't hear the point source so much as the impression of the scattered echoes coming back. And to simulate that, we can, without adding reverb or panning, we can do different frequencies in the left and right ear. And that is the other aspect of mix-based mid-side processing as an effect that perhaps is part of what Alex is also finding to be more fun than panning to the left.
Okay, this is really interesting. Thank you. Oh, I wish we had more time because I got a lot. I've got mostly questions here. Ivan, I want to know what you're thinking about this.
Yeah, Alex, are you talking about the Xmax mid-side processor from Lesia?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I have watched a video on that, and I've pretty much come to the conclusion that when when we're ready to send things out to get them mastered, it's going to practically be a requirement that whoever's doing the mastering is pushing things through analog gear, including the Xmax.
Did you go to the department store in 1983 and press the stereo wide button on all the boom boxes too?
No.
Wait a minute. How can you fucking say you're a child of the 80s and you didn't do that? Fucking has a sip of Coke. I'm like, Alex, I know where you live, and I'm gonna slip into your room at night and I'm gonna whisper in one ear only. And I will not be in front of you whispering in both ears, and you're gonna be in hell. And Rezi, I can't remember what my threat was to you, but it will happen.
You're gonna punch my computer a while.
Yeah, I'm gonna
ago.
punch your
What
fucking
else you
computer
gonna do?
in the dick. Now, fuck. what okay, and this is sincerely, this is really interesting because I do it's very interesting you say this because oh sorry, Reza, your hands up. Did you want to okay. That's interesting, and it's good to know this from, you know, listening to what people like and don't like, you know, when you mix, because that's important. I remember I was when I was taught, and also I read back in the olden days when we had these things called magazines, keyboard magazines. I remember there was a producer that I hated his music, but I really liked his approach, where he talked about every element of the spectrum is filled, and there might be a guitar over there and something, but it's not reflected on the other side. So that's interesting that you say that, because I will often have something chattering over there and there's something going on to spread it like a big reverb or something. In Angelspit, it's not. In Angelspit, something is just bashing the shit over there. That adds to the cacophony. But it's interesting that you say this. It's very interesting. That's all I got. And if somebody wants, they can fucking jump in and say something else. Or we could say, fuck this, let's go home.
I just throw chorus all over everything. Like, that's how I stereo widen my sides. And sometimes they have a keep bass mono switch, and I engage that.
If I can, while we're here, so the mid side is, so is it called mid side, or is there mid and there's side?
It's mid dash side usually, as I see
Okay,
it
so that's
rendered.
one thing, mid dash side.
Yeah.
It's like
The
cut
concept is
strong.
called mid-side, but you have a mid channel and a side channel, basically.
Okay. So is the
MS.
side, so is mid kind of the middle bit in the mono?
Yes.
And is side the hard side?
That is your anti-phase information of the left and right components that don't
It's-
sound like they're correlated in the middle.
It's
So-
basically just everything that's both in both channels and everything that's not in both channels in separate tracks.
Okay, so then you could take the mid side, pan it hard left and hard right. Because I'm looking at the module right now and I'm going, because I don't fully understand this shit.
The
And
module is a bit confusing because it's just letters and not spelled out. But you have the first inputs, which are left and right, even though the right is just a squiggly line. They are turned into mid and side. That's the first half. The
okay,
second
so
half,
now hold on. So this is kind of two modules in one?
you have like a decoder and an encoder and a decoder in one module. I
And
think I
can you
would
use both of them simultaneously on two different signals?
So I think what people would do, you take your stereo signal, you split it into mid and side, then you process them separately.
Okay, well, stop. So sorry. So just so to clarify, so are those mids and sides? Do I pan one hard left, hard right?
No.
Or
You treat them differently. It's like
okay, well
two,
help me out here, because I don't get it. Like
you have
sincerely, I
like two
don't
different
understand.
paths.
Yeah, I
that
get
are
that
totally
bit.
independent,
But
two
I
mono
don't actually.
signals.
So the mid, what do I do with it?
So
That's where you put your
that's
kick
what I
drum.
was asking. What this module did, apparently, is it takes the side and applies a high pass boost. So you only take the side signal and give it a high pass, which will make it wider.
Huh.
Or maybe it's differently, but basically you just take one signal and process it differently from the other, and then it will affect the stereo width. And then you put the mid signal and the side signal back into the module, and it turns it back into left and right.
Ah, so you pull them out, affect them, stick them back in, and it will give
Correct.
you a heightened thing.
Yeah,
Widened.
If you just plug it
Widened.
back without doing anything, it will won't do anything, just fancy math.
There you go.
The if there was a simple breakdown, if the stuff in the left and right don't match, that's sides. I mean, drums in the left channel, vocals in the right, like the Beatles did, that's sides. Bass guitar down the middle and the kick drum on your 808s, that's mids, because they correlate. The information in left and right speaker are identical. There's no difference between them. So there's nothing to derive width from. You just hear it as centered.
Thank you for explaining this to me. So basically, mid means middle, pan, zero. Sides means hard left, hard right on the sides. Panning
Yeah, they don't
100%,
match. Yeah, exactly.
minus
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good to know.
But you can't do that with something that's mono because then you still have it. They're
Sure.
still 100% the same thing. So they have to be different signals. And to derive that difference, you do something fancy, either with the comb filtering that I was saying or separating frequencies. So some go to the left, some go to the right. But yes, you've got it now. The mids are the stuff that is down the middle because they're match.
So
The
this is
sides
just
are things that are different.
clever words.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm understanding the difference thing. Okay. Thank you very much for explaining that to me. And thank you to everybody for sitting through Carl learning about this. Is all about teaching Carl, isn't it? Thank you. That's really, I've actually, and I'd like to say, fuck you, Ivan. I have gone to Perfect Circuit, fuck you, Ivan, and I have put that in my cart, fuck you, Ivan, and I've also put the fucking TC Helicon version 2 pedal in my cart as well. Fuck you, Ivan.
Man, if you didn't put a figure eight, a microphone that has a figure eight pattern in your cart also, so you can get some true
I've already got
mid-side
one.
recordings. Okay, make sure you do that. The steps are easy. You record one cardioid and one figure of eight. Left channel, flip it out of phase, panned hard. Mult the figure of eight to your right channel also. Don't flip the phase. 3 channels.
Okay.
Anti-phase, phase, mic, the other mic. Those are your 3 channels. So, but you do
Okay.
need a phase flip button on that channel, the left or right channel of the figure of 8. But that is your originated mid-side recording that you can then do some cool spatialization adjustments with. It's satisfying to do. It's not really exciting, but it is. It's a real, classic recording technique.
Okay, this is good intel, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Hold on. I'm just writing down a note. Did anybody else have anything they want to talk about in the last few minutes, or do we want to raid to MTV TV? Okay. This has been really interesting, and thank you. And thanks for bringing this up. I'm learning today. We're gonna get the fuck out of here. So thank you for joining the Art of Rock. As mentioned, we are in this place this time every week. So go and like and subscribe and fucking whatever to those things. Frank is acting really weird right now because there's work going on outside and he doesn't like people hammering, do you, Frank? This is brought to you by Angelspit's Patreon. All I ask is you join for free if you want, or as little as $3 a month. Helps me out. I'm very grateful. Angelspit's new album is called Red End. Unfortunately, I am not shipping overseas until all of the overseas bullshit figures itself out. So thank you to the people who bought stuff overseas today, but I will be refunding your orders because reasons. It's just fucking bullshit. I'm really sorry about this. And you get to keep the digital, by the way. Wednesday nights we talk about synthesizers and it's bloody awesome. So join us with on Alex's Vulture Culture channel. He's going to do a deep dive. It's fucking great. And he just did that synth, by the way, that Leviasynth, clever name. Very fucking interesting. I still want the 2061 though, but that'll never happen. Thank you, Razi, for being the most incredible fucking co-host to keeping us going, mate. Thank you.
You are welcome, and thanks for having the show. It's always
And
good to be
please
here.
remember to check out Razi's stuff because there's a lot of stuff. Today we were joined out by these amazing humans because they are fucking amazing humans. Boom. If you got some change, send it in the direction of Drake's family. We lost Drake last year to cancer unexpectedly, and we're always looking after him. If you don't like where America's headed, or you're a little concerned, or you want some solidarity, check out Indivisible because it is your right as an American. It is peaceful, it is legal, and it is constitutional. Don't bitch about it. Do something about it. It could be as simple as calling a senator, which is your duty. Every person in every country has to do that anyway because democracy is a work in progress. Let's rate to MTV TV. And we're going to go. So if you're watching on anything else, we're going here. Boom. We're going to get us some non-stop music from the Bleeding Edge. streaming nonstop. You guys fucking rock. Happy birthday, by the way. Let us know when that raid's gone through, and we're gonna hang back in and have a chat. And fucking Adapt, why aren't you joining us anymore, bastard? Doesn't like us. Yeah, we appreciate your fucking thoughts. So jump in next week. Okay, Carl, a second Discord link for these two. What? Discord link? Oh crap. All right. Angelspit's Discord is here. I don't know how to use it. I don't even know what mid-side is. Give me a break. So it's there. Wait, Suffer is on this there, I think. What? Yeah. No one's ever, what? Busy people, lol. Yeah, all right, good. Hey, have we rated yet? Fuck, do I have to do this myself? Maybe I do have to do this myself. This is where everybody helps out, where Carl is fumbling through life, because life fumbling is what I do.
When there's no Diana in the chat, there's no, it doesn't magically raid somehow.
I hope
I wonder
Diana's
what that
around.
relationship is.
We are rating. What?
Oh, nice spam.
Is it? I don't, what did Clever Fox say? I don't know. Are we rating? So exciting. What is going on, Frank? Someone's banging outside. Frank's going, what? What? That is a Discord link. I just don't understand Discord because I'm a child. Is this fucking thing rating? God,
I mean,
anything.
the thing says you used /raid. That's one step. I don't know if it's
Jesus.
actually going to do it, but
Fucking Christ.
kind of nice that you tried.
Anyway, everybody watching on fucking Facebook, see ya. Everybody, we're going over to fucking MTV TV on bloody YouTube. Bye.